We make things. We use our hands, minds, and machines to build, to fix, to improve. We're known as do-it-yourselfers, home improvement fans, fix-it fanatics, inventors. At our core, though, we're all makers. So let's jump in and make something.
Hi, I'm Ron Hazelton. Welcome to the show. Today we're going to turn a closet door into a bookcase. Now, why would anyone want to do that, you may ask? Because sometimes wall space can be scarce, and a door is, well, otherwise unused wall space. Then we'll dive right into the making of a child's outdoor play structure. And this one has all the hardware and fittings. You supply the lumber, elbow grease, and some test piloting. Now this is going to be fun, so grab the toolbox and let's get started. Today, I'm on my way to visit Phil and Arlene Saphir in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They call themselves two old hippies and run an internet business from their home. But it's not their home office that needs help, it's their guest bedroom. Two rather unattractive closet doors break up the wall, so the Saphirs would like to replace them with doors that double as display cases. And I'm going to help.
It's so nice to meet you.
Oh, thank you.
Come on into the house.
I've drawn up some plans for the project and go over them with Phil and Arlene.
So this is what I have in mind here. This is essentially a case, or box if you want to think of it that way, with shelves that we'll put in here, and we can space those shelves any way you guys want them, depending on what you're going to put in there. Now this will be just about the same size as your door. We're going to take the door out, and then we're going to place this in the opening on hinges so it'll swing out. And then to make it a little bit more decorative, and also to hide this joint here, I want to put on some decorative moldings like these, some fluted moldings, with some corner blocks up here. All right, so what I want to do now is set up sort of a temporary shop in your garage, because we're going to have to do some cutting here.
We're about to cut strips of plywood that will be used to make up the sides, top, bottom, and the shelves of our units. Each piece will be 5 1/2 inches wide.
Now this is the stuff we're going to make your bookcases or cabinets from. This is 3/4 inch thick birch veneer plywood.
Okay.
It's the best material for the sides and the shelves. We'll use something else for the back.
After measuring and marking the plywood, we attach a self-clamping straight edge. Running the base of the circular saw along the straight edge will guarantee a perfectly straight cut. After cutting several strips to width, we move on to the chop saw to cut them to length.
In almost any cabinet making project, you end up having to cut a number of pieces of wood to the same length. And we're going to be working on the shelves right now. We need several of those at 21 1/2 inches. Now we could measure and mark each one of those, but you're always going to get some error when you do that. So we're going to measure once, and then we're going to cut a number of these, as many as we need, without measuring again.
To make these consistent cuts, we attach a wood block called a work stop 21 1/2 inches from the saw blade, the length of the shelves. When the wood contacts the work stop, Phil lowers the saw,
Okay.
and he and Arlene take turns cutting the shelves. With all the shelves cut, we next cut the two side panels to length.
There it is, another side.
Now it's time for assembly.
And then over here, I've done something which will help us assemble the corners. I've just stacked up some blocks here, nailed them together, so that when we get ready to attach these, which we'll be doing in just a second, this will kind of help us sort of orient everything in the right position.
Arlene begins the assembly process by drilling pilot holes through the top panel of the display case. Next, Phil runs a bead of glue right over the pilot holes.
Phil?
We press the top panel to the side panels using our assembly blocks and then secure them with screws.
Okay.
We repeat the process for the bottom panel, and now we're ready to move on to the shelves.
I've asked you guys to bring down some of the typical things you're going to have on here, because now is the point where we have to decide what our shelf spacing is going to be. So what we can do is kind of temporarily lay a shelf in here. And Arlene, just see if some of that's going to fit. And if it doesn't, then just move that shelf down or up.
All right, I'm
So
going
you
to
get
move
more
this
room
down.
there, okay?
And I think it should have some space above and below. Okay.
You move that one down, let's see how that looks.
All right. That feels about right, but I would like to see it with just 4 shelves if we can, to see
Okay.
if they make.
I'm going to take this one.
Okay, I think I agree. I'll move these down.
Actually, I like that better, actually.
I think I do too.
4 shelves. Well, that'll make it easy.
I use a combination square to mark the final position of the shelves. Then we run a bead of glue over the ends and attach them with screws.
Now we're going to put one more board in right down here. This is actually not a shelf, it's more like a false bottom. And what it's going to do is give us a surface to which we'll attach a piece of trim later on. So same idea, put some glue on the ends right here,
Okay.
put it in place and screw it in position. Now all of our shelves are in, so now it's time to put the back on. So if you guys would lay a bead of glue all the way around the outside and across the back of the shelves.
Okay, I like
All right,
doing that.
There we go.
I think Phil's got a future in cake decorating, I really do. Just drop that right on.
The back of the bookcase is put in place and secured with an air-powered stapler. We've transferred the shelf lines to the back panel so that we can see where to put the staples.
Now we're going to have some fun.
Good, I'm
we're gonna
looking forward.
decorate and embellish this basic case here. Starting with this fluted molding here, and then on the bottom of that, we're going to place what's called a plinth block. This is supposed to simulate a column, and this would be the base of the column. And then across the bottom, I want to add something like this. This is a baseboard. Remember we put this extra shelf in earlier?
Right.
That's so we can support both sides of this. So this will go on here. So let's
Okay.
start down here at the bottom and then work our way up to the top. Okay?
We attach the plinth block and the rest of the molding with a combination of glue and nails. We've also decided to add wooden rosettes to the top corners. These decorative moldings are only attached to one side of the case. A matching set will be attached later, but not to the case, rather to the bedroom wall on the hinge side of the door, in order to allow the case to open and close without binding. Now, to create a lip for the shelves, we attach narrow strips of wood along each front edge. While Phil and Arlene assemble the second display case, I move up to the bedroom to remove the old closet doors. I use a utility knife to cut through the paint and caulk at the edge of the door casing, which also has to be removed. A putty knife slipped behind the casing protects the wallboard while I use a flat bar to pry the casing off. I also use a pry bar to remove the old doorstop.
Boy, you've been busy.
I have been busy up here. Well, here's the problem. Not a problem, but it's just a situation. We took off the casing around the door because we had to have that flat. Now what we're left with is this kind of ugly joint here and this unfinished wallboard. So I want to put this flat molding on here, and you came just in time.
Arlene attaches the molding with a nail gun. After giving it a coat of paint, we're ready to install our first display case.
All right, let's stop just a second here, Phil. Then a couple of things. I've extended some lines around onto the casing here of this trim we put up earlier, showing the location of the old hinge mortise. And I put a couple of pieces of plywood down here, thin, to act as shims. I want to get this up off the carpet, okay? So just bring it in, lift it up, tip it forward on top of the shims.
We rest the bookcase on the shims, and I transfer the hinge marks from the door casing to the shelving unit. We lay the bookcase on the floor, and Phil attaches the hinges. Then we hang the door. Once it's in place, Arlene completes the job by nailing the remaining decorative moldings, plinth blocks, and rosettes to the wall.
Okay, guys, this has turned out really nice. You know, we started this morning with a couple of plain closet doors. And now you got a closet gallery,
Looks great, Ron.
a swinging exhibit, I think we'll call it that.
The doors dress up the Saphir's guest room without sacrificing space. They're practical and dramatic, sort of like something out of an old movie where bookcases move to reveal secret chambers. Even if this chamber is just for clothes, it's one guest will never forget. Well, now I'm on my way to Troop, Texas to visit Dennis and Kimberly Stevens. Oh man, you're going to have a jungle gym village out here when you're finished.
That's what we're hoping for.
We're
You know,
gonna
one
keep her
thing
busy.
I really like, you've already got the safe play surface down here with the pea gravel. You got plenty of that. So what you're thinking here, this is about where you want to put the second one?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Are we going to build this from scratch?
Build it from a kit. have to buy the lumber additional, and the slides also separate.
Okay, so we would get the accessories and the hardware in the kit.
Right.
Right.
Can you've got that already?
Yes, we do.
In the lumber.
Yes, we do.
Let's go.
We're ready.
Our playset requires a bit of construction. We're going to build a 2-story structure with a tube slide and other accessories connected to the upper level. Now before we start, let me show you the kit that we're going to be using today. This is actually the unit that we're going to build. And this kit, like most, provides the accessories and all the hardware. Now, here's a tip for you. Separate the hardware out to start with. Put the light kind in piles like this. And using a muffin tin is a great way to separate out the small parts. This kit also has a cutting list right here. So the first thing we're going to do is start cutting some wood. 23 1/4. Using the cut list as a guide, we measure and mark each piece of wood. We're going to just measure and mark these one at a time, all right? Now take the speed square, if you would. Draw us a nice straight line across there. Dennis and Kimberly take turns with the circular saw. Running the base of the saw along the edge of the speed square assures a straight cut. With all the lumber cut, we can begin assembly. We're first going to put together 2 nearly identical frames, which can be thought of as the front and back of the playset. We snap chalk lines on the concrete patio to create a full-size plan. With this, we can see the exact location for each piece of lumber. Then we just lay the boards on top of the lines. All right, this is the beginnings of our first frame right here. So we're going to temporarily attach this together. We temporarily attach the frames together by first drilling pilot holes, then driving in 4 stainless screws at each joint. Okay guys, we're going to flip this over now. We have one more brace to put on the other side. We secure the joints with carriage bolts, washers, and nuts. Finally, it's time to raise the frame so we can continue the assembly. Guys, push it up so that it's vertical. Okay, Kim, put the level up there. Let us know when it's plumb or vertical.
Okay, a little bit more.
More which way?
Out.
This way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nope.
Got
In.
it? In?
In.
In?
Out. Right there.
Right there, okay. Everybody hold on. Once plumb, we temporarily hold the frames in place by clamping them to braces which are attached to stakes driven into the ground. Now we're going to hook these together with 6 pieces of 2x6, starting right down here on the bottom. Okay guys, if you grab that end, same thing here. Now we're going to drill the pilot holes and then we're going to put the screws in first, then we'll bolt later. We attach our first 2 boards to the sides of each frame, connecting them together on the bottom. Then we'll attach 2 more boards across the top of the frame, and 2 at the midpoint. In addition, we're going to install 2 joists running through the middle of the frames. These will support the deck boards that we'll attach later on. Okay, brace number 2. Okay, what a team over there, huh? I feel like we're framing out a house here.
Pretty big project, isn't it?
Well, we put all of our cross supports in. You can see that we've got a really sturdy structure here now. Took a little break. Now we're going to come back and stabilize this. There's always a danger of one of these playsets tipping. So to prevent that from happening, we're going to put some heavy stakes around the bottom right here. We secure the stakes to the frame with 3-inch screws. Then Kimberly and I climb up top to begin installing the decking. We're attaching the deck across all 4 supports or joists with galvanized deck screws. Using a carpenter's pencil as a spacer leaves just enough distance between the boards to allow water and small debris to fall through. With the deck in place, we begin installing the walls or siding, again using galvanized screws. You ready? Well, we've gotten all of the siding on our upper level up there. Now we're putting it on the bottom down here. Same process, but I want to show you a little trick here. Sometimes if you're working by yourself and it's hard to hold the board, as you're getting it in position to screw it, you can use a clamp like this just to secure it where you want it. So in this case, flush with the top. Then you can let go with both hands and go ahead and put the screws in. With the playset frame, decking, and walls complete, Dennis and I are going to attach a small wooden frame we've just built. This is the landing for a pirate's ladder, one of the several accessories that came with the kit. We attach the ladder to the top railing with a couple of eye bolts. The bottom of the rope ladder is attached to the frame with heavy-duty staples to make sure the tension is tight. With the ladders attached, Dennis fills in the landing and covers the frame with pea gravel. Well, this is our second accessory here, the climbing rope. It attaches to the upper part of the structure just the same way the pirate's ladder did, with a long eye bolt and a nut, which we will now tighten down. Okay, Kim, give it a try. I'll give you 10 seconds to get up here. Come on, go ahead. Well, at least it's strong enough, huh?
Yeah,
Can you hang on it?
it'll help me.
Now, every two-story playhouse requires a suitable set of front steps. In this case, it's going to be a ladder. We'll make the rails out of two 2x4s, and to be sure the holes are spaced accurately, we'll clamp them together and drill through both at the same time. The rungs are short pieces of 1 1/8 inch dowel, which came with the kit. Simply pound them through and secure them in place with screws. We attach the ladder to the playset, and now it's time for the grand finale. Well, there are slides, and then there are slides. Now, this tubular slide was purchased as an accessory to the playset, and we're going to roll it into position here, and then we'll attach it to the main frame. Kimberly places the bottom of the slide into the pea gravel. Then Dennis and I bolt the top onto the frame. Now, no playhouse would be complete without a roof, so Dennis attaches a ridge beam to support an awning that came with the kit. We drape the awning over the beam and attach it with screws and fender washers. Finally, it's time for me to do what I came here for. No, not build an outdoor playset. Play on one. Listen, this is a great house call. Thanks for having me down. I just want to ask one thing. Can I come back and play on this a little bit someday?
You bet.
Definitely.
Well, if I don't make it back to enjoy this playset anytime soon, I know someone who will enjoy it for me for a long time to come. Water that's discharged from your downspouts can saturate the ground near your basement wall or foundation. Now, over time, that can cause settling and cracking, a very expensive proposition. So the idea is to carry that water away from the foundation. Here are 3 very simple ways to do that. This is a splash block. Its job is to carry away discharged water. This version is installed by removing the elbow and slipping on the extender. It's held in place with a couple of screws. The clip holds the extension up and out of the way when it's time for mowing or raking. And finally, there's the accordion version. The kids will love this one. It slips over the elbow and also attaches with screws. Each end has a different size connector. The unused connector is cut off. This extender is flexible enough to route water clear of shrubs or flower beds. So remember, downspout plus water plus foundation equals trouble. So carry that water away.
To view today's projects again and countless more, go to HouseCallsDIY.com. Step-by-step home improvement tips when you need them.
I'm Brian Kelsey. Welcome to House Calls.
Join us as we tackle some great home projects, as well as look back at favorites from Ron Hazelton on House Calls.